In the late 13th century, Anatolia was really a patchwork of small states. The land was divided among many different rulers, each controlling their own territory, and the region was constantly shifting as alliances changed and new leaders emerged. It was a time of uncertainty, but also of opportunity for those bold enough to seize it. One of these states was led by Osman I. He was the son of a respected Turkish leader, and Osman and his followers lived right on the edge of the powerful Byzantine Empire. This borderland was a place of tension and possibility, where cultures mixed and rivalries simmered. Living so close to the Byzantines gave Osman and his warriors a chance to raid enemy lands and grow stronger. Osman was not just a skilled fighter, he was also brave and clever, inspiring his people with dreams of victory and a better future. His leadership made his tribe believe that greatness was within their reach. Now, Osman's tribe was small compared to others. They called themselves Osmanlu, which means of Osman. Despite their size, they were united by loyalty and ambition, always looking for ways to expand their influence. They fought their neighbors, sometimes Greeks, sometimes other Turks, and each small victory made them stronger and more confident. Every battle was a step towards something greater, and their reputation began to grow. Their warriors were tough and fiercely loyal, always eager for new lands, riches, and glory. The promise of reward and the hope of building something lasting kept them united through hardship. According to legend, Osman had a powerful dream one night. He saw a great tree growing from his chest, its branches spreading wide and covering the world. This vision was seen as a sign from above, a promise of future greatness. This dream became a powerful symbol for his people. Osman's followers believed it meant they were destined to build a mighty empire, one that would stretch far beyond their small beginnings. The dream gave them hope and a sense of destiny. Soon, Osman's Beylik began to grow, absorbing new lands and people. The Ottoman state was born, and what started as a small frontier tribe was now becoming a force to be reckoned with in Anatolia. Osman ruled for over 25 years, guiding his people through challenges and victories, and setting the foundation for a new dynasty that would last for centuries. When Osman's time came to an end, his son Orhan was ready to take the next steps. With strong leadership and a clear vision, the Ottomans were ready to rise and change the course of history. After Osman's death, his son Orhan became leader. Orhan was a strong and wise ruler. He captured the city of Bursa in 1326, and this was the Ottomans' first big city. Bursa became their new capital, and it was full of trade and life. Orhan made the state stronger, organizing the army and government. He built mosques, markets, and schools. People from different lands began to join the Ottomans, seeing a chance for a better life. Orhan looked to the west. Across the sea was Europe. In 1354, a huge earthquake damaged the city of Gallipoli. Orhan's troops quickly crossed the Dardanelles and took the city. This was the Ottomans' first land in Europe, and it was the start of something big. The Ottomans now had a foot on two continents. They would use this to build a vast empire. More leaders would continue the dream. The Ottomans soon marched deeper into Europe. They moved into the Balkans, fighting many battles. Town by town, they pushed their borders further. Their army was strong and disciplined, and many local rulers joined them or became their allies. One of the most famous battles was the Battle of Kosovo in 1389. The Ottomans fought against a large army of Serbs and their allies. The fighting was fierce, and both sides lost thousands of men. In the end, the Ottoman leader, Murad I, was killed, but his son Bayezid took command right away. The victory at Kosovo opened the way for more Ottoman expansion. The Balkans were now under threat from the growing Ottoman power, and many Christian kingdoms began to fear the new empire. But the Ottomans kept moving forward. They took big cities like Sofia and Thessaloniki. The road to their biggest prize, Constantinople, was now open. The young empire's future looked bright. Bayezid I, known as the Thunderbolt for his speed and ferocity, ascended to the Ottoman throne after his father's death. His ambition was unmatched, and he quickly set out to expand his empire's reach. Bayezid was relentless in battle, leading his armies with lightning speed and determination. He dreamed of making the Ottomans the greatest power in both Europe and Asia, striking fear into his enemies wherever he went. Under his command, Ottoman forces swept through the Balkans and Anatolia, capturing city after city. His conquests brought vast new territories under Ottoman control, and his reputation as a formidable leader grew. Bayezid even laid siege to Constantinople, the legendary capital of the Byzantine Empire. The city's massive walls stood firm, but Bayezid's determination seemed unstoppable. Yet just as victory seemed within reach, disaster struck from the east. In 1402, a powerful conqueror from Central Asia named Timur, also called Tamerlane, marched into Anatolia with a vast army. Timur's reputation for ruthlessness and military genius preceded him, and his arrival changed everything. Timur's forces were enormous, well-trained and fiercely loyal. The Ottomans, caught off guard, faced a threat unlike any they had seen before. The two mighty armies clashed at the Battle of Ankara in a brutal and chaotic fight. The fate of the Ottoman Empire hung in the balance as the battle raged on. In the end, Bayezid was defeated and captured by Timur. The once mighty Sultan was taken prisoner, a shocking blow to the Ottomans and their allies. With their leader gone, the Ottoman state nearly collapsed. Cities were left in ruins, and the empire's future looked bleak. During this time of chaos, Bayezid's sons turned against each other, each one fighting for the throne. The empire was torn apart by civil war and uncertainty. The Ottomans seemed weak and divided, and many believed their dynasty would soon be destroyed forever. But against all odds, the family line endured. A new leader would eventually rise, determined to reunite the empire and restore its former glory. The Ottomans would not only survive, but come back stronger than before. This was the first great test for the Ottomans, a trial by fire that would shape their destiny for centuries to come. From this disaster, they learned resilience and unity. The Ottomans would soon rise higher than ever, forging a legacy that would echo through history. The crisis ended when Mehmed I took power. He was called the Restorer. He brought peace back to the empire. Mehmed united his brothers and rebuilt the army. The Ottomans began to expand again. After Mehmed I, his son Murad II became Sultan. Murad was a skilled general. He defeated rivals in Anatolia and Europe. He pushed the Ottomans' borders even further. Under his rule, the Ottomans became strong again. Murad faced new enemies. Crusaders from Europe tried to stop the Ottomans at the Battle of Varna in 1444. Murad won a great victory. This showed the world that the Ottomans were back. Their armies were feared across Europe. Mehmed II, Murad's son, was now ready to take the stage. He had big plans. The dream of conquering Constantinople was within reach. Mehmed II became Sultan in 1451. He was just 19 years old, but honestly, he was full of ideas and ambition. Mehmed wanted to do what no Ottoman Sultan had done before: capture Constantinople. This city was the jewel of the old world, protected by massive walls. Mehmed built a mighty army and, these huge cannons. In 1453, he surrounded the city by land and sea. The siege lasted for weeks. His soldiers fought bravely. The defenders tried everything to stop them, but the end was near. On May 29, 1453, the Ottomans broke through. Mehmed's army poured into the city. Constantinople fell. Mehmed rode into the Hagia Sophia and declared it a mosque. He made the city his new capital. He was now called Mehmed the Conqueror. The world was shocked. The old Byzantine Empire was gone. The Ottoman Empire now stood at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, stronger than ever. After Mehmed II, the empire kept growing. Selim I, called the Grim, ruled from 1512 to 1520. He conquered Egypt and the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. The Ottomans now ruled most of the Middle East and North Africa. Then came Suleiman the Magnificent. He ruled for nearly 50 years. Suleiman made the empire richer, larger, and honestly, more powerful than ever. He took Hungary, pushed into Austria, and ruled lands from Algiers to Baghdad. His navy sailed the Mediterranean, and even beyond. Suleiman loved art, law, and learning. He built great mosques and palaces. He wrote laws that brought order to his lands. Many people called him the lawgiver. Under Suleiman, the Ottoman Empire became one of the world's most famous and feared powers. This was the Golden Age. The Ottomans controlled a huge empire with many peoples, languages, and religions. Their culture shaped the world around them. So, how did the Ottomans rule such a big empire? They built a strong government. The Sultan was at the top. He had advisors called viziers. The most important was the Grand Vizier, almost like a prime minister. Beneath them were governors who managed provinces. The Ottomans let many peoples keep their own customs. Christians, Jews, and Muslims lived side by side. Each group had its own leaders and laws. This system was called the millet system. It helped keep peace in the empire for centuries. The Ottoman army was famous. It had special troops called janissaries. They were trained from childhood and loyal only to the Sultan. The navy was also strong. Ottoman ships ruled the Mediterranean, Black Sea, and even sailed to the Indian Ocean. Good government, a strong army, and a mighty navy made the Ottomans powerful. But soon, challenges would appear. After the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman Empire began to face serious problems. Some of the sultans who followed were weak or inexperienced, unable to match the strength and vision of their predecessors. The once mighty empire started to show signs of decline. Corruption spread throughout the government as officials began to prioritize personal gain over the needs of the state. Bribery and favoritism became common, weakening the empire from within. The once elite janissaries, who had been the backbone of the Ottoman military, became lazy and difficult to control. Meanwhile, European countries were modernizing their armies and growing stronger, leaving the Ottomans at a disadvantage. The Ottomans began to lose important battles, such as the decisive defeat at Vienna in 1683, which marked a turning point in their fortunes. As a result, the empire started losing territory to powerful neighbors like Austria and Russia, as well as to other rising European powers. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the Ottoman Empire had earned the nickname, the Sick Man of Europe. Provinces across the empire began to rebel, seeking independence or greater autonomy. The Ottomans lost control of key regions, including Egypt, Greece, Serbia, and many others. Each loss weakened the empire further and fueled more unrest. In response, Ottoman leaders tried to reform and modernize the empire, hoping to restore its former strength and stability. The Tanzimat period brought sweeping new laws and rights, aiming to modernize the legal system and grant more equality to citizens of different backgrounds. But despite these efforts, the reforms were not enough to stop the decline. The empire continued to weaken, and its people grew anxious about the future. World War I delivered the final blow. The Ottomans sided with Germany and the Central Powers, hoping for a reversal of fortune, but instead suffered devastating losses. After their defeat, Allied armies occupied Istanbul, marking the end of centuries of Ottoman rule over the city and the empire. In 1922, the last Ottoman Sultan was forced to leave the palace, symbolizing the final collapse of the empire. The Ottoman Empire, which had once ruled vast lands across 3 continents, was finished. Its era had come to an end. But from the ashes, a new nation was born. In 1923, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk founded the Republic of Turkey, leading the country into a new era of reform and modernization. Today, the legacy of the Ottomans is still visible everywhere in Turkey. Their influence can be seen in the architecture, traditions, and daily life of modern cities. Mosques, palaces, and delicious food in Turkey and beyond all carry traces of the Ottoman past, connecting the present to centuries of history. Ottoman law and culture left a lasting mark, influencing not only Turkey but also Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa in countless ways. The story of the Ottomans is one of dramatic rise, incredible glory, and eventual fall, a powerful lesson for all who dream of building an empire, and a reminder of how history shapes the world we live in today.